The rapper A$AP Rocky has been sentenced to life imprisonment following a massive scandal in court. The highly publicized case revolves around an alleged shooting incident involving A$AP Rocky and his former friend, AP Relli. The court verdict has sent shockwaves through the music industry and has left fans and critics alike stunned. The scandal surrounding the case reached its peak when A$AP Rocky made shocking revelations in court after hearing the verdict. While details of his statements remain undisclosed, they reportedly shed light on the events leading up to the shooting and raised questions about the credibility of the prosecution's case. This video which will leave you stunned, so make sure you watch this video till the end. Immediately following the announcement of his life sentence, the rapper A$AP Rocky, who is well known all over the world, caused a stir in the courtroom. This has caught the interest of both the general public and the media. Immediately following the announcement, the rapper was given a sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole. Both of these groups have been completely captivated by this odd turn of events, and they are utterly enthralled by it. Not only were shockwaves conveyed through the legal profession, but they were also transmitted via his following of followers all over the world at the same time that the drama that was going place in the courtroom was taking place in real time. One of the legal concerns that has garnered the most attention in recent years is the case that has been filed against A$AP Rocky, whose real name is Rakim Mayers. This lawsuit has been filed against A$AP Rocky. One of the most notable cases that has occurred in recent years is this particular legal proceeding. It took the jury several days to reach a decision regarding the rapper's case, despite the fact that they had been deliberating for a considerable amount of time. The jury deliberated for a considerable amount of time before reaching a decision. According to the claims, he was accused of committing a number of major offenses. These offenses were alleged to have been committed by him. As soon as the judge made the announcement that the defendant would be sentenced to life in prison, the atmosphere in the courtroom became extremely strained. At this precise moment, the judge issued the announcement that was to be received. A$AP Rocky stood up almost immediately after being informed of the decision, and when he did so, he had an obvious expression of rage on his face. Over the course of a relatively short period of time, what began as a rumbling of astonishment rapidly evolved into a full-scale eruption by the time it was over. While the proceedings were taking place, he openly questioned whether or not the trial was conducted in a fair manner. He also levied claims of bias and corruption against the court system. In addition to this, he questioned whether or not the trial was conducted in an honest manner. The emotional appeal that he made was not only a caustic condemnation of the structural deficiencies that exist inside the framework of the judicial system, but it was also a call for justice. He expressed this demand in the form of an emotional appeal. He made this request in order to convey the emotions and thoughts that he was experiencing. In a manner that allowed his voice to ricochet throughout the entirety of the courtroom, he screamed out, "This is not justice!" on multiple occasions during the entirety of the proceeding. "This is a travesty, and I will not stand for it." In spite of the attempts that Rocky's legal team made to calm him down and bring him back under control, Rocky's resistance only grew stronger over the course of time. As a consequence of this, fans and journalists were thrown into a frenzy, and they snapped photographs of the incident, which would subsequently be distributed throughout various social media platforms and news organizations. The matter that took place in the courtroom quickly became the most important news story, absolutely dominating headlines and driving arguments across a range of communication channels. It was the most major news item almost instantly. There was no other news topic that was more important than this one. There was a wide range of opinions concerning the relative merits of Rocky's claims that were made by professionals working in the field of law. A vast variety of people, representing a wide spectrum of ideas, offered their opinions. Some people criticized his actions, stating that they were unethical and disrespectful to the court. On the other hand, some people commended his bravery for speaking up against what they considered to be injustices. Because he spoke out against something, he received appreciation from a few folks for his bravery. Those persons who were praising his activity were present at the same time that this was taking place. Those who are in favor of A$AP Rocky gathered together to show that they are unwavering in their support for him, so that they could showcase their unwavering loyalty throughout the process. Because of their unwavering commitment, they have garnered a reputation for themselves. Several demonstrations were conducted in a variety of locales, with supporters demanding not just a retrial, but also an investigation into the claims of corruption. These events were organized by supporters. These protests were held in virtually every country on the planet. As a consequence of the widespread usage of hashtags such as #FreeASAP and #JusticeForRocky, which became popular all across the world, there was a significant increase in the amount of pressure that was placed on the judicial system. Consequently, this resulted in an increase in the total amount of pressure that was applied to the system. As soon as possible, it was vital for the court to take action in order to ensure that they received a reaction that was proportionate to the horrifying outburst. In order to retake control of the proceedings, the judge issued an order for a temporary recess in the proceedings. This was done with the purpose of regaining control again. Rocky's legal team contended in the appeal that they filed almost immediately that there were potential instances of impropriety on the part of jurors, as well as deficiencies in the system. They also argued that there were potential cases of malfeasance in the procedure. In addition to this, they mentioned that there were possible instances of improper behavior. In light of the fact that it is anticipated that the procedure of appealing the verdict would take a considerable amount of time, both parties are making preparations for what is certain to be yet another high-profile judicial dispute. Discussions over the usage of life sentences and the manner in which the criminal justice system interacts with convicted individuals who are popular in the public have been reignited as a result of the case of A$AP Rocky. A resurgence of these conversations has occurred as a direct consequence of the case. As a consequence of this, it raises many significant concerns regarding the necessary equilibrium that need to be maintained between the influence of celebrities and the impartiality of the legal system. As an additional benefit, it provides light on the ongoing fight for reform within a system that a significant number of people consider to be fundamentally flawed. The significance of this cannot be overstated. In spite of the fact that A$AP Rocky was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison, there is still a tremendous deal of controversy around the conviction. Not only has his embarrassing behavior in the courts brought his legal future into the public eye, but it has also brought attention to broader themes and concerns of justice and fairness. His behavior in the courts has been seen as a public spectacle. As a result of his actions in the courts, the former has come about as a consequence of his actions. The one thing that can be said with complete assurance is that this specific case will be remembered as a defining moment in the ongoing discourse about the intersection of fame, the judicial system, and the pursuit of justice. This is something that can be said with full certainty. There is no doubt that this is something that can be stated with complete trust. This is something that may be said when each and every person on the planet is watching and observing it. In light of the fact that this story is still unfolding, exposing new twists and turns in what has already become one of the most talked about legal dramas of our time, you should make it a point to stay tuned in order to stay abreast of the most recent developments.